Hey everybody! I just finished a semester studying library and information science, and I've been catching up on some recreational reading. I also read to keep up to date in children's and young adult literature, which is the population I'm keen to assist as a youth services librarian. In this video, I'll talk about 3 books I am currently reading, and I will also mention 2 books on my radar for books I want to read. Let's dive in, shall we? Among the books I'm currently reading, here is Ballad and Dagger by Daniel José Older, which was published on May 3rd by Rick Riordan Presents Disney Hyperion. I received a digital advance copy of this book through Publishers Weekly's recent Grab a Galley promotion. That's digital, hence the paper printout of the cover. I could also show you my e-reader that the book is loaded onto, but I don't think that would be as interesting to look at. So, Ballad and Dagger is the first young adult title to be published by Rick Riordan Presents. It centers around Mateo Matisse, part of a diaspora community that has made a new home in Brooklyn after its island, San Madrigal, disappeared into the sea. Once a year, the community holds a grand party that celebrates its blended culture of pirates, Cuban Santeros, and Sephardic Jews. But the evil that sank their island has finally caught up with them, and on the night of the celebration, Mateo's life is forever changed when he witnesses a brutal murder by a person he thought he knew. Suddenly, Mateo is thrust into an ancient battle that spans years and oceans. Observations by Gaslight by Lyndsay Faye. This book's intended audience is adult, and among my favorite adult market genres, I enjoy modern authors creating original stories about the Victorian detective Sherlock Holmes. Observations by Gaslight is a collection of short stories and novellas narrated by a variety of supporting characters from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's original Sherlock Holmes adventures. Inspector Lestrade, Irene Adler, Mrs. Hudson, and more. The stories in this book are told through diaries, telegrams, and even grocery lists. I've been reading the physical book, but I've also been listening to an audiobook that features the voice talents of Dan Calley and Polly Lee. Here is another digital advance copy from the recent Grab-A-Galley promotion. It's a young adult debut by Andrea Mosqueda, Just Your Local Bisexual Disaster. The story centers around Maggie Gonzalez, who, when tasked with picking an escort for her younger sister's quinceanera, is forced to confront new and old feelings for 3 of her friends. Amanda, her best friend and first ever crush. Matthew, her ex-boyfriend twice over, who refuses to stop flirting with her. And Danny, the new girl who has romantic baggage of her own. On top of this romantic disaster, Maggie can't stop thinking about the uncertainty of her plans for the future and what that means for the people she loves. Just Your Local Bisexual Disaster will be published on May 24 by Fywell and Friends, Macmillan Children's Publishing Group. Now, both of these advance copies, Just Your Local Bisexual Disaster and Ballad and Dagger, are driven by the voice of a first-person narrator, and I'm looking forward to sharing their worlds as I progress in my reading. And finally, among the books that I am keen to watch for, the California Young Reader Medal recently announced this year's winners, and this is an award I like to feature in the school library where I work. One of the books that I will be on the lookout for is this year's intermediate category winner, The Remarkable Journey of Coyote Sunrise by Dan Gemeinhart. 5 years ago, Coyote lost her mother and 2 sisters in a car crash, and since then, Coyote and her dad, Rodeo, have lived on the road in an old school bus, crisscrossing the nation. Coyote hasn't been home in all that time, but when she learns that the park in her old neighborhood is being demolished, the very same park where she, her mom, and her sisters buried a treasured memory box, she devises an elaborate plan to get her dad to drive 3,600 miles back to Washington State in 4 days without him realizing it. Along the way, they'll pick up a strange crew of misfit travelers. I'll also be watching out for The Jigsaw Jungle by Kristin Levine, which is the middle school junior high winner. Claudia Dalton's father has disappeared, and when she finally gets word from him, it turns out he isn't missing. He's just gone to think things over and to visit an old friend, whatever that means. Feeling confused and helpless, Claudia starts to assemble a scrapbook in a desperate attempt to figure out what's happening with her dad. Claudia's investigation deepens at her grandfather's house, where she receives an envelope containing a puzzle piece and a cryptic message that will set Claudia on an unexpected treasure hunt that she hopes will bring her dad home and heal whatever's gone wrong with her family. And folks, that's it. Thank you for joining me for this recap of the books that I am reading.